One thing I have heard a lot, and I think every vegetarian and vegan can relate to, is the claim that me being vegan, right? Me being vegan, me saying no to that hamburger or to that bacon sandwich or even to that little gummy bear that has gelatin in it, me rejecting those things has no direct impact on the animals who are brought into this world only to be killed, has no direct impact on the animals who are suffering, the animals who are in the slaughterhouses right now, has no direct impact on the environmental impacts of animal agriculture, right? And so what's the point? Surely one person cannot make a difference. You are not making a difference by being vegan. And it's interesting because on one hand, you know, I guess it's a fair question. On one hand, if you are not eating animal products for health reasons, if you stop eating animal flesh and fluids because you want to reverse heart disease or you want to lower your cholesterol, you want to lower your blood pressure, you want to whatever. I mean, you can quantify that stuff. You can quantify it. You can see that you have lowered your cholesterol, you have lowered your blood pressure. You can see them in numbers that you're improving your health by not eating animal flesh and fluids. And so, okay, that's convenient if you're doing it for health reasons. And of course, even if you're not doing it for health reasons, you can quantify those physical benefits. But how do you quantify reducing suffering? On one hand, you could say that the more people who are vegetarian and vegan, the fewer animals will be brought into the world only to be killed. And we can see this when people talk about like, oh, if we stop eating animals, they're going to take the world and we're going to be overrun with them. No, it's not how it works. There is a bit of, but not completely, supply and demand. So the fewer people who are demanding animal products, the fewer animals will be brought into this world. Kind of, the math isn't that simple, but still that is the truth, and we are seeing a change. The truth is, it's not just vegetarians and vegans, though, that are reducing the number of animals being killed, and it's not just vegetarians and vegans who are increasing the success of the plant-based meats and cheeses in the marketplace. That's also happening from people who call themselves flexitarians, people who eat plant-based, who aren't completely vegetarian and vegan, from people who are just cutting down. So, okay, so then if we are seeing changes and an increase in the number of plant-based meats and cheeses in the marketplace, and we are seeing a small reduction in the number of animals being killed, but that's coming from non-vegetarians as well as vegetarians, and it's coming from non-vegans as well as vegans. So then again, what's the point? If we can actually have an impact and help things by just cutting down, then again, why be vegan? If you cannot see a direct correlation, then isn't it just a matter of personal purity? Again, you could say that, but the truth is, when I became vegan, I always say that I didn't become vegan as much as I removed the blocks to the compassion that had always been inside of me. When I was eating animal products, I was a compassionate person, or at least I perceived myself to be, but I wasn't living in alignment with those values. I would never, ever hurt another living being. I can barely even look at what happens to animals in slaughterhouses and on factory farms or on small farms or what have you, animals who are being used and abused for human consumption. I can't even look at it, forget actually participating in it. And so, yes, I was a compassionate person. I was living my life every day and I was a good enough person, but I wasn't living in alignment with my values. And becoming vegan enabled me to live in alignment with my values, right? So even though I can't quantify it and I can't say, yes, my not having that hamburger today, my not having that piece of bacon I can now do the math and see that fewer animals are actually killed because of that. Even if you can't quantify something, that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. It reminds me of the Marcus Aurelius quote. I love it. He said, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. And it really is that simple for me. I am not perfect, and it is not a perfect world. I've made mistakes, and it is not about personal purity because I am very imperfect. I'm very impure. I don't know if that is what I mean to say, but it's not about perfection or purity. And it's not a perfect world, and we never will be. But I can say that for the last 20 years, I have gone to bed saying that I at least aligned my values, my principles, my ethics with my behavior, that I can go to bed every night and say that I did my best to actually manifest the values that I say I have, values of compassion, values of kindness, values of simplicity, etc. And that's a pretty good feeling. So I might not be able to quantify it exactly, but I'm manifesting my values in my behavior, and that feels pretty good, and it feels like it's the right thing to do. So for me, being vegan is not about quantifying it. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency and aligning my principles, my ethics, my values in my everyday behavior. It feels pretty good.